Haunted Hotel is the new adult animated comedy series over on Netflix from Matt Roller, a guy who's worked on Community and Rick and Morty and a bunch of other great stuff. Unfortunately though, this show is coming out on Netflix, which means Netflix doesn't know how to market it properly and instead spends all of their marketing dollars on some movie called The Wrong Paris, which is a romantic comedy about a dating show where contestants think they're going to Paris, France, but they're going to Paris, Texas.
Can I put my balls in your jaw? Yeah. Balls in your jaw.
Why not just make a reality TV show about that? That sounds way more interesting than a shitty rom-com. And why have I seen the trailer for it 12 times at this point, and I've only seen the trailer for Haunted Hotel once, and after watching the trailer, I wasn't sure who the target audience for this show was, and upon watching it, I realized it was me! I'm the target audience. Haunted Hotel is a show about a single mother and her two kids moving into, get this, a haunted hotel that was left to her by her dead brother, who haunts the hotel, along with a cast of wonderful ghosts, ghouls, and monsters. Now, like I said earlier, I did not know what the target demographic for this show was initially. I thought it was aimed at maybe younger viewers or something like that. I didn't really watch the full trailer. I just kind of saw it and was like, oh, okay, I'll try to remember that for when October rolls around. And now that it has rolled around, I looked more into Haunted Hotel and I realized something. Pretty much everyone who worked on this show has made things or worked on things that I really enjoyed in the past. It's a really talented cast, and the creator Matt Roller has worked on a lot of stuff with Dan Harmon between Rick and Morty and Community, and I love the way Dan Harmon writes stories. He's really technical, characters always have arcs, there are setups and payoffs, and that very much rubbed off on Matt Roller, and he has his own flavor to add to that story structure as well. From episode 1 of Haunted Hotel, there are great character arcs, there are setups and payoffs, characters have reasons and motivations, and all this basic stuff that you just kind of have to get out of the way to get your show moving. Haunted Hotel nails it. They really have the technical aspects down. And that goes for the animation as well, technically speaking. I don't love the art style. I think it's a little bit Fox animation domination blocky, which isn't my favorite thing ever. They just kind of have like simple faces and still frames. But in motion, this show is fantastic looking, especially during action sequences. They sway the camera around in all these interesting ways. And these faces, though kind of plain at first, they can get really expressive. I was blown away by some of the expressions made by the two like kid characters in the early episodes. Their mouths are getting huge, their faces are squashing and stretching. It's just fantastic. It's so much better than like your basic Fox rigged animation. Oh, Peter Griffin walks in and does the same head movement he always does. Like in Haunted Hotel, they spend a lot of time making sure characters are really expressing themselves, whether it be with their hands or how they're moving around or just their faces. It's great. And while I stand by the fact that I think this art style is a little bit plain at times, I do want to specify, I mean more so with the human characters. When it comes to like the ghosts and the monsters and the ghouls and all that stuff, they can get really great. Like some of them are really gory, really creepy, and then some of them are just weird and fun, like this candle character, which I hope they have footage of for me to pull for this video. There's a candle character that's like covered in wax and obsessed with candles. He looks ridiculously good. Like some of the monster designs are tremendous, and it's the perfect kind of thing you want for Halloween too, because this is a comedy show and it has a very dark, edgy sense of humor, you could say, but it's all that sort of fun Halloween kind of vibe, except for some stuff that happens later, which we'll get to. Trust me, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to this show because it's great. It's filled to the brim with fun Halloween stuff, and that's really what I was looking for this year. I wanted to talk about stuff on the channel that could get people in the Halloween mood, in the mood for the spooky season. And here's Haunted Hotel, a show that just came out one season in, and it nails it. It nails the aesthetics of Halloween, especially in the early episodes when they parody horror movies, or when they're just dealing with these ghost characters and showing off all their crazy designs and all the rules of the world, which the rules are really well established in this show. They set up how ghosts will disappear if they finish their unfinished business, which is a common thing, but it adds stakes to the show as soon as they do that, and it fleshes out the world, and it comes up again later. There again, setups and payoffs. It's fantastic. I also really really have to praise the voice acting in this show, especially our main family cast here. Jimmy Simpson, who's one of the McPoyle brothers from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, he plays a child from the 1700s possessed by a demon called Abaddon, and he's incredible. He has to blow up and get big and crazy in some scenes because he's a demon, but then he's a little boy at the same time and has to be like timid and kind of quiet. His range is tremendous. I did not realize how fantastic of a voice actor Jimmy Simpson was, and I didn't even recognize it was him, and I feel like I know his voice and his work pretty damn well. So big props to Jimmy Simpson. And then the brother character, Nathan, is voiced by Will Forte, which if you know anything about comedy, then you know that Will Forte is one of the funniest goddamn people still working today in Hollywood. He is so consistently funny. He can go so over the top at times. He has a great voice. He's, of course, Abe in Clone High is what I'm guessing a lot of adult animation fans probably know him from, but in like the world of like sketch comedy with Tim and Eric and I Think You Should Leave, he is such a funny guy and he is tremendous in this show. And then there's Eliza Coupe, who plays the sister and the mom to the kids in the show, Catherine. She is tremendous. I've always felt that Eliza Coupe was one of the more underrated actresses working today. I loved her in Future Man. Again, another really underrated show. Future Man was fantastic the way I remember it. I have to rewatch it. It's been a few years. She is tremendous in this show. She's hilariously funny. She has to be sincere at times, and she nails it. And then there are the two siblings, Ben and Esther, voiced by Skylar Gassando and Natalie Palamides, I believe is how you say her name. Skylar Gassando, I knew him from Righteous Gemstones. He's also in the new Superman movie. He's hilariously funny. He's great as Ben. Again, just great range, great comedic timing. I'm not super familiar with Natalie Palamides' work. I think she's done a lot of voice acting work on a lot of different shows, but good God, she deserves more leading roles. She really gives it her all. This whole cast does. They're tremendous. Now, the reason we're spending so much time praising this voice cast is because Haunted Hotel is a pretty funny show, but with these performances, it is a hilariously funny show. They have great comedic timing, they bounce off of each other so well, and much like the show itself, this cast feels fresh. They feel new, they feel exciting and fun, and it shows in the final product. Now, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, well, when's Mr. Cow gonna get around to his negative points? Not yet, because we still have more positives to talk about when it comes to Haunted Hotel. This show has an incredibly dark sense of humor. It's incredibly dark subject matter. We're talking about ghosts, people that died, right? So of course it's gonna be a fairly dark, occasionally grotesque and gory show. And when it comes to the dark humor, they don't shy away from anything. And I mean anything. If you can think of like, oh, how did this person die? Some ghost in this show probably died that way, and they either show it in some way reflected in the character design, or they just straight up talk about it. And it works for the comedy, but it also works for the emotional moments, for like driving these characters and character drama. And probably my biggest complaint with Haunted Hotel is that they get really emotional in one episode. There's a moment where I was like, oh wow, this is getting like dark. I know the show has like this dark comedy angle, but what about darker drama? Like that fits in just fine in my book, especially with the tone of Haunted Hotel, but they really only go into it once. And that's honestly my biggest complaint, is I just wanted more of that. Let's have the dark humor with some dark drama. They both fit in with this world, and clearly this voice cast is talented enough to pull off both comedy and drama, because I saw it with my own eyes in one episode of Haunted Hotel, and after seeing it once, I was like, oh my god, this could be something genuinely special. Right now for me, it's like an 8 out of 10, you know, like sometimes the horror stories are a little thin, you know, whatever. It's not the most emotionally like grabbing show or whatever, but it is a damn funny comedy show with this one really great emotional moment. And if they can really stick with that in the second season, which is already confirmed, thank God, please don't cancel it, Netflix, like you did Inside Job. If they can really stick with that for a second season, I could see this show being a 10 out of 10 by season 2. It has that much potential, and it is that much fun, especially during Halloween. So props to Matt Roller and everyone who worked on this show. My biggest positives are definitely just the writing structure, the fact that everything has setups and payoffs, the characters are well defined. I think that's probably what I look for most when it comes to adult animated shows, just because it tends to be the thing they miss most often. There are a lot of really great looking shows and well animated shows that don't quite nail down the technical aspects of storytelling, and I think it's just made me love really well structured stories all the more. If you've seen any of my other reviews, you know that I talk about structure a lot, and one of my biggest problems with another great show on Netflix, Long Story Short, was that they chose a non-linear structure for the story. and I felt like it held back the show in some areas and kind of required 2 watch-throughs, which some people love. Some people love watching a show twice and getting more out of it. Personally, I feel like you're kind of presenting something to an audience, right? And you're like, okay, here you go. Here's the story. Let's get it to them in a way that's satisfying, that's entertaining, that's not too confusing, but also doesn't treat them like idiots. Like, it's a very hard thing to do, and Haunted Hotel pulls it off. And so I think it deserves praise for that, especially for me, because I love that shit. And then the voice acting cast is great. I thought it was hilariously funny. I thought it captured the essence of Halloween and everything that gets me excited about this time of year. And then as for negatives, I just felt like it could use more emotional moments. Again, don't love the human character designs, even if they do look better in motion. Sometimes, especially the character Ben, he just looks a little off. He looks a little weird. He looks a little goofy and off-putting, and I don't like it so much. That's one of my biggest gripes, I feel like, with this series. And I should have brought this up earlier. I kind of mentioned it in passing, but the character Abaddon reminded me a lot of Stewie Griffin when he was first introduced. I was like, oh, that's their version of Stewie, in the same way that like Malloy or whatever is kind of their version of Stewie, or whatever the fuck they were trying to do in Brickleberry, that horrible fucking show. I kind of got like shades of that, and then again with the sister character whose name is, I remember it, it's Esther. I didn't have to look at my notes real quick. Her character reminded me a lot of Louise from Bob's Burgers. Like, there's definitely some familiarity there in terms of the character archetypes, but it's so different in terms of setting that I'm able to look past it, and they do a really great job writing these characters and giving them setups and payoffs that are meaningful. So it's not the biggest issue in the world, but it's definitely something I feel like if you're a fan of adult animation, you're gonna notice. So I'll call attention to it right now just to make it clear. It's definitely a little derivative with those 2 characters, but I still think it's worth watching in spite of that. So with all that being said, I'd give Haunted Hotel's first season a very solid 8 out of 10, and I highly recommend you all go watch it before October is over. And hey, if you're getting a Netflix subscription, also check out Long Story Short. That show's great as well. There's 2 really solid adult animated shows on Netflix right now that deserve your attention. So go check them out. But since it's October, check out Haunted Hotel first, because it's perfect for this time of year. They really did capture the essence of Halloween. Great work to everyone involved on this show. I was happy to watch it. I got through it in a day. I watched the entire thing just having a great time, and I think you'll have a great time too.